All right, so we're back home. First thing you're gonna want to do, make sure these fan wires are disconnected, or else you're gonna have a really fun time pulling this radiator out. Also take out this little tube that goes to your ECU. That's just from the fan to cool it. If you're like me, you know, make sure you have some gloves, some protection or whatever. You don't want to get all this stuff on your hands. Make sure you buy enough coolant, and make sure you also buy this, which is, you got coolant, you got shop towels, got WD-40. Make sure you get this. This is the harmonic balancer puller kit. Make sure you get this, or else you're gonna have a bad time. All right, next, what you're gonna want to do after you've already unplugged these two wires, it's just my EC. What you're gonna want to do is go under the car, and you're gonna look for this right here. This is your drain plug. You're gonna wanna go ahead, pop that open, let that coolant drain out. Oh, she's dirty. That's the motherfucker you're gonna have a hard time with if you don't buy that tool. This right here. So, go ahead and open the radiator cap. Put that somewhere you don't lose it. And I'm gonna start unscrewing these hoses so that I can let out all this fluid. So yeah, go ahead and start taking off your upper and lower radiator hose. That way you can get to everything. Yeah, so what you're gonna do, you're gonna take off these brackets. I lost my second one from the first time I did my transmission. So you're gonna take off these brackets. It's hard to do this one-handed. Use my leg. Or not. Take that off. Alright. And you're gonna find the size for this hose. Mine, I think, is a 8mm. Make sure you keep your bolts together. So just slide it back in the bracket. I need an 8mm. 8. Yep. Just loosen up this one. If you want to fully take the clamp off and all that, go ahead, now's your time. Maybe I'm not going to take off that side. Oh no. Here it comes. I'm going to need to replace these. Yeah, the thing's still draining out. I'm gonna go ahead and take the screw completely out. That's fun. Do not lose this, please. I almost forgot to tell you guys. Remove this clamp off of your lower radiator hose so you can get this hose off. That way you can pull the radiator out. This is basically done draining, so get this clamp off, put your bucket or whatever you're using, put all your coolant in, put that under there because more than likely it's going to have some coolant still in it. Alright, so just to show you guys, all I've done is remove the radiator, take out the upper hose and the lower hose, and those two are right there. Take out the radiator with the fans on it. I'm gonna completely drain the radiator, which means the overflow tank. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna take a 14 and pop it right on this tensioner. Right, so you're gonna get the 14 on there, push down. As you can see, it loses tension. Slide the belt off and slowly put the tension back in. And you can finish taking off your belt. Alright, so next, take off this cover. There's two 10 mils, and then there's one in the center. And this just comes right off. Alright, so next, I've taken that off. As you can see, this is the amount of play that you want to have in your timing wheel. Before we do anything further, we are going to line up our timing marks. And then there's one also down here on the actual crank. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna take a 22 socket, yep, 22. You're gonna slap it on that crank bolt. You're gonna get your half drive or whatever size you're using. You're gonna spin the crank until these notches match up with these notches on the timing cover. Alright guys, so as you can see here, what I've done so far is I've taken off the pulley for the water pump, which is this one right here. And I've taken off the pulley for the tensioner, which is the 14 mil bolt right here with the washer. Make sure you keep your tools and your pieces and your bolts and everything in place. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking off the bolt for the power steering pump, and I'm going to take off this other cover, and then we should be good to remove it. There's one bolt right here, and there's one bolt that you need to remove here. Take this one out, and loosen this one, and then it'll move the arm enough to where you can get to the bolt that's behind there to remove the cover. Alright, so what I have set up here now, I've taken off 10 mil right there, and here, and over here. I've taken off the two 14s, which is right there, in here, and then I loosened the 14 for right here so that this arm could swing back. Now I have the 22 socket on a half drive with a jack pole, and I'm going to bump the ignition so that it loosens this crank bolt. Okay, so make sure you're in timing. Check this 40 million times. Make sure you're in timing. There's also a line here. You can't really see mine because mine is super dirty. There's a line on the crank. Use that line to match up with the line on the cover. See that little indent? And then you have these two, boom and boom. That is TDC. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've taken off this tensioner. I didn't need to take this off, so I'm going to put this back on. There is no incorrect way to put it back on, it just kind of goes back on. So just make sure you put this back together if you did take it off, because you don't need to, which I wasn't aware of. And now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to bump the starter. So I'm going to be going from here. I'm going to be resting the bar on my frame rail. So from here onto the frame rail, and then I'm gonna bump the car in 5th gear. That way it doesn't start. It's the easiest way to do it. so I could take this off. And it's gonna be those holes I'm gonna use are for that. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do this. Put your 22 socket on there, half drive. I just use the jack pole as a breaker bar. Then I'm gonna go inside the car. I'm gonna leave you guys out here so you guys can actually see what happens. Set you guys up right there. That's my fault. Oh, my dumb self had it the wrong way, so now we're gonna take it off. Alright, so what I'm going to be doing here now, I can't get it off doing the bump method because of how bad my bolt is. So what I'm going to do, see, just freaking tore a hole in my glove. What I'm going to do, make sure you're in timing. So I'm going to retime this again because that bump method was not working for me. Make sure you're in timing, and you're going to start by looping from here, from the water pump to this one, around, under, back down here, and you're gonna make a loop here and go back up. So you wanna make sure that has enough tension. You're gonna pull it out as much as you can to get it as tight as possible. Like that, see? So it should be feeling like this one. And then I'm gonna try to break this off, and hopefully I can get this thing off. It's starting to piss me off now.
2,000 years later.
All right, so we got the crank bitch off.
What?
Crank that soldier bitch.
Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
Then you got a nice little 10 million right here for the Allen key. I had to use the jack pole to break it off. It goes in just like that. And then you have these two, which are 212 mils that are upwards.